Hey everyone, welcome back to the Chopper Fed Studios. My name is Brett and I make motorcycle related films and motorcycle vlogs. Today we're going to the garage to do a review on the Biltwell Lane Splitter Helmet version 2 for these visors. Let's roll that intro and we'll get diving deep into if these helmets are good value for the money. Right. So as you guys know, a little bit of a, I wouldn't say an aficionado, but I am an addict when it comes to helmets. I might have a problem. How much of an addict am I? I have two of the exact same helmet, just in different colors. Why, oh why? But you know, I divulge. Let's get into this helmet. First, we're going to talk about the shape of the helmet. So, as you can see, the shape of the helmet is a very, very aggressive shape. Got that big banged front end on the face that really just kind of shows how aggressive it is. As you can see from the shape of it, it actually is a good dual purpose helmet. I mean, this is going to be good for a crotch rocket type person, but it's also good for your upright cruisers. It's got a really good aerodynamic shape and it does help limit some of the helmet shake that you could get from some other cheaper helmets. Now with this particular helmet, it does have three giant vents here on the front. These vents let in a ton of air. That's good and that is bad. Let's start with the good first, right? Good news better than bad news. So the good news is if you're in the summertime, it's going to keep you nice and cool. Well, as cool as a helmet can be while riding in the summertime. It's going to let air come in and in and in, and you're going to definitely feel it. The airflow though, with this helmet, you can't change it. There is no vents that you can open and close. They're just constantly open. So that's where the downside of this helmet comes into play more so than the good. So again, the good is tons of airflow, keeps you cool. The downside is it's going to be a little bit harder to use in the wintertime. The airflow that will come in the wintertime is blasting cold. I took this one out for a ride the other day and it was just unbearable. So I like to ride down into the 40s. So even when I have, you know, a 50-mile-per-hour ride that I'm on and I'm going against a 10-mile-per-hour wind, that's blasting some really kind of Arctic air in there. And again, nothing you can do to actually change that except to actually modify the inside of your helmet. You can take some painter's tape or some gaffer tape, something to kind of put it on the front part of these. That's my recommendation, and that does help block most of the wind out, and that really does help. Again, that would be my wintertime suggestion. Now with it being a ton of air flowing in, out of my arsenal of helmets, these are by far the loudest helmet I own. I mean, outside of the crappy little built one back there, which 3/4 helmet, of course it's going to be loud. These things are loud, ladies and gentlemen. So definitely want to wear some sort of earplug or something because it is quite loud. Now I don't, I'm already going deaf anyway, I feel like, so I'm just going to roll with it. Now, as far as the inside of these things go, this is where Biltwell is really been pretty awesome. They are trying to actually change and adapt to the growing environment of their helmet customer base. So for me, I have a 63 centimeter head as far as I measured anyway. And if you look at Biltwell's chart, it doesn't look like even their XXL should fit. and it really doesn't. It can go on, it will fit, but it will be a very, very tight fit. This one right here is a 2XL with just the standard cheek pads in it, and I've had to modify it for glasses wearers. The top of the cheek pad I had to cut it out, so I had a place to put those onto. Now that's not to say it's going to be that way for everyone. Of course, if you have a smaller head, you don't have a big head like me, it's going to work just fine. What they have done now though as well is they've offered now 5mm cheek pads for those people who whose craniums are a little bit too big. And I am able to actually put this one on now with my glasses. So we'll go in and show it on and continue here shortly. All right, here we go. So it goes on, nice and smooth. Now, I do always have to kind of adjust my ears a little bit, but boom, I'm good now. Visor up, very little wiggle room. Now the ultimate test for us glasses wearers. So these go on. It's a tight fit, but they do. It works really well. Now, as you can see, I'm already fogging these up. So this is, again, kind of one of the downplays of a tight helmet like this is gonna fog up unless we're moving. But once we get moving though, it does dissipate really quickly, so I'm not gonna hold that too much against this helmet. All right, on to the next part. This part, the visor. So one of the things I really liked about the Biltwell visors is they're cheap. They're iridescent, such as the gold and the silver that we have here, only come in at about $50. If you were to get a Shoei, something similar to that, those generally run on the $100 range. So I was very happy to know that the visors for these are relatively cheap. The version 1 of this helmet, I will be flat out frank with you, it sucked. The detents that were on the version 1, they didn't hold their spot like these are doing here. As you can see here, they're holding their spot and they actually take a lot of pressure to move. I was cruising down with version 1 when I had my Rusty Butcher version of it. And I was cruising 45, then all of a sudden, it just closed on its own. Kind of freaked you out. Didn't like the bike or anything, but you know, enough to kind of cause a little bit of concern. So I do like the fact that the detents are much better. I do have 2 caveats now though with this visor system. The first one is, as you try to lower it. Now we're closed, but if you want it sealed, there's a little thing right here that allows you to actually lock it in place. It doesn't lock in place very easily. As you can see, I'm forcing it down, it's not happening. What I have found out that works best is you can kind of push right here to get it down, but if you're riding, that is not the best deal. That one worked a lot better this time. I think maybe they just take a little bit of breaking in, but it does take a lot of force to get it. And with the gloves on, it can be reap, reap. So take that as you will. That's my one gripe with the visor on the whole. Now the one thing I do wish Biltwell would come out and design maybe for version 3 of their helmets would be a way to figure out how to get a pin lock system in here. I'm a Shoei guy. I love my pin lock. I will fog up all around the visor, but I know where that pin lock is, I am nice and clear all the time. These do come with an anti-fog agent supposedly built in. You'll fog up again at a stoplight unless you lift the visor. There's just no way around it. Even with the anti-fog coating on there, it happens. Not enough to actually detract too much on the overall score for it, but I just feel like adding a couple posts wouldn't be too hard to do to these helmets. Let's go ahead now and we will talk about the safety aspects of these helmets. So they are both rated DOT and ECE, which means all you people in those European nations, you're going to be able to use this helmet legally over there as well. Again, the liners are, snap out just like anything else and are washable. This is where kind of a little bit of the cheaperness of the helmet comes into play. There is a kind of like foamy feel on the outside, but everything else is mesh. Now I think that mesh is designed to let the air flow and keep you all nice and cool, which it does work but it does also kind of leave you wanting more. It's just, it kind of looks cheaply made, but they do hold up really well. So take that as you will. You know, it is what it is. And of course you do clasp it with the standard E-ring, which most helmets nowadays still have the classic D-ring, but if you start looking into some of the premium lines like Shoei and even the Ruroc brands, they have come up with something different. I know Shoei has like a ratchet system and Ruroc has their fidlock. So again though, for what these helmets are, they're really a good helmet. I know I've kind of talked trash on them a little bit here, but the one thing that we haven't talked about is, you know, what the overall price is. They retail for $250. Retails $250. As you guys know me, I don't like to pay full retail for anything. And just FYI, this is not sponsored by Biltwell either. I do have a good source as far as finding secondhand parts. So this one is a used helmet that I found on FXR Trader for $100 shipped. Took a chance on it. There was one rock chip and it actually buffed out. So score on that one. This one here, brand new, $150 shipped from a store that was on closeout. That's when, you know, if you want to get into this helmet for a relatively cheap price, you definitely can, because they discontinue colorways all the time. And so as they discontinue the colorway to make room for the new ones, these guys have to go on clearance. So I definitely recommend, you know, shopping around and seeing if there's maybe a colorway that you like that's on its out that you can maybe pick up for cheap. But even if you were to pay full price $250 for one of these helmets, you are still getting a very good value. You do only get the clear shield with the helmet itself, so do keep that in mind that if you want any sort of accessory, it's going to add an extra $50 or so to the purchase. But as far as what I would rate this helmet as an overall, I'd give it a 3.5 out of 5 helmets. Reason I would just cut down is it's very windy, it's very loud, and it does have some cheaper interior parts that I feel could have been spruced up, or maybe even if they could have offered a more premium version, like as an aftermarket accessory, they could have done something like that. But what are your guys' thoughts? I know a couple of you guys run these. I know Her Two Wheels used to run a Biltwell Lane Splitter until she moved on to the Scorpion. But if you do motovlog, what do you think of it? I've actually had pretty good success using this helmet, even with as windy as it is. For some reason, if you get the microphone situated just right, primo sound indeed. But with that being said, let's go ahead and cut it there. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Hope you enjoyed this little review, and I will catch you on the next dark side, as this is the way. Chopper Fit out. See ya.